We've been talking a lot about this week about the customer journey and customer life cycle and bringing our customers along across many channels. And today we've got two folks here that I'll introduce in just a moment. They're going to talk to you about the very tactical email touch points throughout that life cycle. And some of the goals for our session today are to help you all understand what that customer life cycle is, to learn a little bit more about those email engagement opportunities with your customers, and then to discuss some of the learnings and findings that our speakers have had through their email programs to help give you guys some ideas to take back to your teams. So first joining us is Pam Danceson from Dollar Bank. Pam has been with the bank 24 years. She's been in marketing 9 years and is responsible for online, mobile, text, and app banking opportunities for their customers. I'm going to let Pam give you all just a little bit of insight into Dollar Bank.
Hi, everybody. Just a little bit about the bank. We are a mutual savings bank, which means we don't have stockholders. We're almost $7 billion. We have no shareholders, like I said. We are focused mostly in southwestern Pennsylvania and northeastern Ohio. Those are the two areas, so we're a regional bank. We do have over 60 locations, and the bank's been in business since 1855, so it's the longest standing continuously running bank in Pittsburgh. We are a full service bank, so we do offer all the products and services, checking, savings, loans, mortgages. And we purchased ExactTarget from C-Track in 2010, so we've been a customer for 4 years.
Great, thanks, Pam. And also joining us today is Kara Olson, Director of Digital Marketing and ECRM with DEG. Kara has been with DEG for 10 years, and she is responsible for email marketing. And yes, she is the email girl on Twitter. If any of you follow her, this is her in the flesh. I'll let Kara tell you all a little bit about DEG and the customer she's going to be sharing with you today.
Thanks, Lacey. So DEG is a digital consultancy specializing in digital marketing, commerce, and collaboration. We were founded in 1999, and we're located in just outside Kansas City in Overland Park, Kansas. We're about 160 people, and about 45 of those are dedicated to the practice area that I lead. We were recently named by Inc. magazine as one of 25 companies that are changing the world, and we've been an ExactTarget partner for over 10 years. We've done over 500 implementations on ExactTarget, and we have over 150 certifications. We work with non-retail and retail brands, including like VF Corporation, which is a holding company for brands like Timberland, Wrangler, and Lee Jeans, who I'll be talking about today. And we lead their strategy for email, social media, paid media, and e-commerce.
Great, thank you so much, Kara. So to jump in, we all, as I mentioned, have talked about the email marketing life cycle. And we walk through, and we are all about talking about acquiring our subscribers, getting folks into our email programs, onboarding them, making a really great first impression through a welcome series, confirmed opt-in emails, and continuing to grow that relationship, building that trust with them. And then lastly, bringing back in subscribers and customers that have maybe disengaged, not purchased in a while, not been to the site, not opened an email. And so with that, we'll be walking through email examples today at each touch point throughout these life cycles. There's opportunities to acquire customers now mobile, through social, and through web. So we'll be talking about some of those opportunities that these folks have harnessed. And then we'll be walking through onboarding, so welcome series, cross-sell opportunities, engagement emails as well, so talking about birthdays, abandoned carts, loyalty programs, and then lastly, how re-engagement impacts our subscribers as well. And as I mentioned, these ladies will be sharing very tactical, very clear email campaigns that they've used. So with that, I'll pass it over to you all.
All right. So we use this? Okay. So at the bank, first thing that happens obviously is someone comes in and they want to open some kind of account with us. So at that point, we try to gain some information about them. If they open in the branch, then we try to get the information through the person in the branch that's opening the account. Or if they open online, we try to get some information there. We're working on a new design for our profile center, so our preference center, that will be coming out shortly. So then they'll have a way to go out and give us a more extended idea of the types of interactions they'd like to have with us. In marketing, and that's from the customer perspective, we want to get that information. In marketing, what I want to know is, how do you want to be contacted? We have email, we have text message, we have mobile apps. What's the best way for me to communicate with you? And most recently, how many people know who Target and Home Depot are? Okay. Most recently, we've had some issues with some of these large retailers and cards. So when I need to get in touch with you and say, hey, your card's been compromised, you can't use it anymore, I don't want you to be going to the store and be embarrassed because you try to use your card and you can't. So security is where we are placing most of the foundation emphasis on this particular process right now. I want to be able to reach you if I really need to.
And so I'm going to talk about some of the ways that we are gathering preference information for lead genes on Lee.com. Like many of you may have, we have what we call an email gate on the homepage that pops up. Some people also refer to that as a popover. So when you arrive at the homepage, you're immediately asking for your email address and in exchange giving you a coupon. It's our #1 source of subscriber acquisition. But what we're doing that's a little bit different is immediately after that, we're asking you to complete a style quiz, which is our fancy or secret way of asking you to complete your preferences. And instead of waiting for the welcome email to come and then asking them to update their preferences from the welcome email, we're asking them immediately on the confirmation of the pop-up here. So we have a higher conversion rate because everyone who signs up via the email gate sees this request. In exchange for doing the style quiz, we're offering the subscriber free shipping and free returns for 30 days. So this is a program or the benefit that they get for giving us their preference information. This is what the beginning of the style quiz looks like. And so at the beginning, we're just asking them to tell us if they're a guy or a girl. And then once they select that, they see the remaining questions. It's about a 7-question quiz. And it's very visual after they select if they're a guy or a girl. So you can see them, we're going on and we're asking them for their birthday. We're asking them who do they shop for? Do they like dark wash jeans, light wash jeans? What fit or styles? Do they like trendy, boot cut? So those are some of the questions that we're asking. So then we can personalize the emails that they're going to get afterwards. If they only click I'm a guy or I'm a girl and they don't complete the rest of the questions on the style quiz, then we have a triggered email that goes to them the next day asking them to come back and complete the quiz. And then it's a 2-part registration in order to gain the free shipping and free returns qualification on the site. And this is just because of the way the e-commerce site is set up right now. So after they complete the quiz, we actually ask them to also either log into their account or to create an account. Once they have done those 2 things, they're now qualified for their free shipping and free returns for 30 days. And then these are some of the triggers that they get as part of that program. So once they're part of the program, on the left you'll see the confirmation email that they get the next day that tells them that their free shipping and free returns starts for 30 days, starts now, gives them kind of their end date for how long that promotion is good for. And then we're customizing the buttons based on the preferences they selected in the style quiz. So in this example, we have shop skinny, shop curvy, whatever preference selections they made, those are dynamically populated in that email. And then on the right, you'll see the trigger that goes 7 days before their 30 days is up. So we're reminding them that they only have 7 more days to take advantage of the free shipping and free returns. And that's how we're using some of the data that we're collecting in the style quiz. In just over a year, we've collected profile data for more than 20% of our list. And this is everything from who they shop for, their birthday, their size, their style preferences, and that allows us to customize and create more relevant promotional campaigns moving forward. So this is some of the data you can see from that. Even though we only have 20% of the profile data on file, we can then start to draw some conclusions for our entire list. So for example, 23% of our list are men, 77% are women. And you can start to see some of the more popular styles or fits that they've selected in the bar charts here. And they're allowed to select more than one style. So this helps us understand how we're going to use content in default versions of the promotional campaigns. So maybe we default to the women's product, or we default to the most popular style that's been selected in the style quiz. And that would likely have a higher rate of resonating with the subscribers that we don't have profile data on file for, because we can just draw some conclusions for the rest of our list. Okay, so that's a little bit about some of our acquisition strategies that Pam and I are working on. And next we're going to move into the onboarding, so like welcome series and how we engage them right away once we get them onto the list.
Thanks. So when we open a new account with a customer, the first thing that we do is have you sign a whole bunch of stuff and get some money from you usually. And then we want to start talking to you about all the things that we talked to you about at account open that you probably don't remember. I have a great online banking system, a text message banking system, a mobile app, and those are all things that you should engage as a customer so that your banking experience is the best it can be. Now, most of the time when you leave the branch, or even if you open it online, you're just not going to remember all those things. So our onboarding series focuses around these other options you have to do your banking. So the first set of onboarding emails that you get talk about, did you get your checks, did you get your card? And then we start to cross-promote the other products and services I mentioned. It's really important to focus these emails on information that's going to be relevant to the customer, because generally our emails have about a 33 to 35% open rate, but the onboarding emails have a 65% open rate. So we know that we're your new bank, we are sending you a communication, most of the time you are opening it. So it's important to keep that information relevant. We try to make very clear call to actions and then make sure that the information that's contained in there helps you understand a little more about the services we're trying to get you to continue to use. The next thing we're going to be doing, I said we're updating our preference center, so the next phase of our process will be to collectively try to get folks to update their preferences to a more granular level. That will be coming out before the end of the year. Kara?
All right, so I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the ways that we then use some of that style quiz data in the promotional campaigns that we're sending out afterwards. So on the right on the screen here, you can see that if you selected dark wash, then when we're promoting certain products, we're going to show those to you in the dark wash finish rather than a light wash or medium wash finish. If we don't have style quiz or profile preference information for you, then you can see on the left, we're showing each of the options. We have a light wash option, medium wash, dark wash, and the bright colors. And this is the women's version in this particular case. And so then we look at the click activity that you take on that campaign, and we can start to populate the selection for you if you haven't completed style quiz, to start to populate the preferences for you based on your click activity. Here's another example on the right. I believe this is if they selected they like the style slimming. So instead of the color finish, which is one of the questions on the quiz, this one's more based around fit and style. So if they selected that they like the slimming, we're showing two products that are particular to the slimming style. And then on the left, you can see if we didn't have style quiz data on file for you, then we're showing you all of the options for that. And again, starting to populate your preferences based on where you click on the visual reference of those styles there. If we have profile data or preference data on file from the style quiz for you, for those campaigns that we're sending, the engagement rates are far higher. So you can see our open rates for those particular subscribers is 16% compared to if we don't have profile data on file for you, it's only 9%. And same thing with click-through rate and click-to-open rate. Click-to-open rate is really our measurement of creative, so how effective was the creative for the campaign. And so that really tells us that if the content and the creative in the email was effective or not. So we're not always showing a default version if we don't have style quiz information on file for you, in some cases we're sending a campaign out to ask you to complete the quiz. So maybe you didn't fill it out when you first signed up, but we're going to go back to you and ask you to update your preferences by taking the quiz. And so you can see in this example on the right, we're saying clue us in, tell us what you like, and then they can go online and take the quiz and still get the free shipping and free returns for 30 days, even if they didn't do it when they first signed up. On days when we send campaigns targeted just to getting people to take the style quiz, we have 5 times the number of completions on those days than on days where we're not sending targeted campaigns out trying to drive traffic to that quiz. We've also found that the campaigns that are more commerce focused, like this one on the left, we're actually trying to get you to buy a product. We have higher engagement for those during the morning time sends, but if we're just asking you to take a quiz or tell us your birthday or vote for something on social, we have higher engagement for those campaigns in the evening. So for the campaign you see on the right here, we would send that more in the evening hours, but we'd send the commerce campaigns in the morning. And then we do have a 2-part welcome series that we send when you do sign up. So the first email is sent immediately. We collect email addresses in a variety of ways, like I mentioned, the email gate. There's also just a sign up, on the footer of the site. You can sign up when you check out, when you create an account, so on. But the subscribers that we get via the homepage on the email gate are 4 times more likely to convert in the first 6 months than all of our other lead gen sources. So we really do focus in on that homepage email gate, and that's why we put the style quiz there, because they're more likely to convert. Here's the second email and the welcome series, and we have 4 versions. So if you haven't purchased and you didn't complete the style quiz, then we're reminding you about your coupon code that you haven't used that's going to expire soon, and also asking you to take the quiz. If you didn't purchase but you did complete the style quiz, again, we're reminding you about your coupon code, but then we're offering you links that are based on the preferences that you selected in the quiz. If you did purchase, then we're just kind of saying thank you, more of an engagement. We really appreciate your business, and then still asking them to complete the quiz for their preferences if they have not filled that out. And if they did, then we're marketing more around the social channels and the other ways you can engage with the brand. We're actually currently redesigning all of these, so they'll all be different in a couple weeks. We have some new photography and a little bit new brand style guidelines that Lee has rolled out. So we're kind of bringing all of these up to speed with the new look. All right, so once we have sort of onboarded them and getting them into the Lifecycle, then we really want to focus in on engaging them. This is where a lot of triggered campaigns come into play. So I'm going to let Pam talk about some of their banking notification emails.
Thanks. So once you're an established customer of ours, like I said, we try to promote the other services that are available to you. And one of the things that we use frequently is our alerts. So we have email alerts and their text message too, but cross-channel, that notify you of any number of things. Your balance drops below a certain level, you have an overdraft, you used your debit card, anything like that. Now, when we first did this, my thought was, oh, this is a really good customer service thing. Customers would want to know this information, and that's true. Everybody would want that information. But remember, I talked about security. So if I can get you signed up for alerts, I have a good email address for you because I know these things are coming to you. So that's one piece. The other thing is e-statements. Customers can sign up to get electronic statements. We are required by law to make sure that you have received a notification that your e-statement's available to you. So we have to send you an email. So there's a whole process we have to go through if your email bounces and comes back to us to get that email address updated again. But that's another piece that we do. And then finally, this last email talks about the compromised cards, and this is the Target and Home Depot piece that we mentioned. This email is sent specifically when we have an issue and there's something we're going to do with your card. We try to be very clear in this email to communicate when your card will be turned off, that you'll be getting a new one, that when you get it, you need to open it and activate it, because that's a struggle that we have. But just to help focus a little bit about how effective these emails are, the first email, the alert email, is open 68% of the time. So that's a really high open rate. And customers are expecting that. So when they see the notification that you have an alert, they open it and look at it. E-statements, this email is only open 55% of the time. It's a logical reason why. I send you this notice every month to tell your e-statement is available, and the subject line says, your e-statement's available, so you don't really need to open it. So I don't expect that to have a high engagement rate. It also means that we can't market to you very well in this email, but we try. But compromised cards are the most interesting one to me. It has a 196% open rate. So I know that when people are getting these, they're reading them and referencing back to them, I think specifically when they get their new card, to see what's supposed to happen next. But we try to keep these designs focused to look like dollar bank emails. There's so many phishing things that go around, and as a bank, we have to be very careful. So we try to give you enough information that you can identify what's here without giving away any of your personal information, but then also to focus the brand design so that it always looks like a dollar bank email. The most important part that I will tell you from emails is you have to get them to open it. So the subject line is the most important piece. If you can't give a customer enough information in that subject line to open it, the value just goes away. The next set of emails that I'm going to talk about are more marketing branded emails. And I just wanted to share these with you to show we're a community bank, so we sponsor a lot of community events. These are just nice ways for us to keep in touch with our customers, remind them we're their bank, we are a community bank, we're reinvesting back into the communities you live in, and we are a technology leader. So we do have things that are available to you to make your banking easier from a technology perspective. The first one is the Three Rivers Film Festival. It's an event that's held every year, and what we do is at the beginning of the year we send out an email to all the people in that region talking about the dates of the film festival and the movies that are going to be shown. The second one is our mobile app. How many people have used mobile remote deposit? Okay, so just a little side story and I'll be really quick, but when we first rolled this out, we made all these decisions because I kept telling people, no one's ever going to do this. Who even gets checks anymore? Yeah, I was really wrong there. We exceeded our annual projection in the first month, so I was way off. So anyway, this is very popular, and it's a very sticky thing for us to get our customers to engage in. If I can get you to deposit a check one time, you'll do it again and again and again, assuming the experience is good. So we promote this a couple times a year to try to get folks that haven't done it to do it. And we've done a couple campaigns offline and online to offer customers incentives to make these deposits. So this is just one that's a nice ongoing campaign. The final one in this series is a gift card promotion that we try to do a couple times a year. This is our Christmas version. We do update the creative every year, but this is the Christmas version, trying to get folks to come in around the holidays and buy gift cards for their loved ones. The next piece is just kind of a recap of what I said, but just wanted to tell a few more, to just walk through a few more thoughts. We do try to personalize the emails as much as we can. As time goes on, we're getting better and better at being able to communicate more specific information to the customers. Product of security being a little more lenient and us being a little more pushy about what customers want to see. You obviously don't want to open an email I send you if it doesn't have any value in opening it. Again, just a reminder, we're your bank and we have some great services that you can use. But the key to all of these things, and I mentioned this and I'll mention it again, is really keeping a valid email address for the customer. That's such a struggle when people change. If you can get them, most of the time they'll give you one and life is pretty good. But if they change it, it just makes it really difficult to communicate with them on any number of levels. As I talked about before, the e-statement notification, we actually have to export every week everybody whose email address bounces and then go back and go out to those customers and say, okay, you need to update your email address. And if they don't do it after 3 consecutive months, we actually re-enroll them in paper statements, which cost them $2 a month. So on the 4th month, everybody calls and updates their email address. But it's just a process we have to go through. It's a legal requirement. And the other thing, just as a warning, when you're collecting email addresses, people are very deceptive in the email addresses they'll give you. They don't want to get emails from you. They'll give you made-up email addresses. So what we've done is we've actually created a table of the made-up email addresses we had in our database. Now, if you try to enter one of those, it says, sorry, we know this isn't a valid email address. So just a couple thoughts. Kara?
So one of the first things that we did when we started working with Lee was we took a look at all of their triggered campaigns that they had running and looked at the revenue per email compared to the volume of those campaigns that were being sent. And so you can see, like usual, the welcome email has the highest revenue per email. And but then what we did was we kind of looked at these and we said, okay, birthday has a pretty high revenue per email rate, but has very low volume. And that was like a quick win that we identified right away that we could take advantage of. So we decided to focus on this area here. We sent an email that said, "Happy birthday," or is it? And we asked them to just give us their birthday. And for doing that, we gave them a coupon, a discount code that they could then use. This had a really high engagement rate for us, so at a 21% open rate and a 32% click-to-open rate. And this campaign actually generated above average revenue for us, which wasn't even a primary goal. So our goal was really just to increase the number of birthdays we had on file, but we got the added bonus of also generating revenue off of this email. And this single email more than doubled the number of birthdays that we had on file. So now we send a version of this quarterly to continue to collect birthdays from people that we don't have on file. And then because of that, revenue in the last 12 months from the Happy Birthday campaign is 3 times what it was in the previous 2 years combined. So then we said, how can we make birthdays come more than once a year? Because for many of our triggered campaigns, we make them into a series. So we have a welcome series. We often have an abandoned cart series. We thought, how can we have a birthday series? And we came up with the half birthday campaign. So we added a half birthday campaign that you get on your half birthday. And then next we plan to add an email several weeks before your birthday to ask you to start to populate your wish list, which then we could update the birthday campaign to include your wish list in it as well. And that will complete our 3-part birthday series for that campaign. They also had an abandoned shopping cart campaign, which, if you remember on the revenue per email and volume matrix, was the second highest generating campaign. But we looked at that. We wanted to extend it into a series. We haven't been able to do that just yet due to some technical limitations, as many of you, I'm sure, face. But we were able to reduce the time on it. So that was a quick win that we were able to implement right away for them. So originally the abandoned cart campaign was sent 72 hours after you abandon your cart. We moved it up to 24 hours. And by doing so, we're able to recover 50% more orders each month. Next on that campaign, we're planning to add an offer. So as part of that redesign where we're updating the look of all of these triggers, we're actually also adding an offer to that campaign soon too. So moving on from engagement now to retention, we're going to talk about win back and some other campaigns.
So we know re-engagement's important and win back is important, and we are just starting to get into the position to actually be effective in this space. So I'm going to talk about our plans. We don't have a lot of this in place just yet. We are building out a new preference center that I'm really excited about. As I said, it'll be out near the end of the year. And then we're going to do a plan. We have a plan to educate the customers that are existing customers about the new preference center through emails and some other types of communication so that they can let us know how they want to be contacted. I mean, I know that a lot of folks don't want to get a lot of marketing emails from us, but there's a lot of really good things we send too, not things that are just kind of spammy. This is some event that's happening or something like that. There's also a lot of good things that customers would benefit from, like a skip a payment campaign. So we're going to try to reinforce that. We're going to remind customers, probably, I'm thinking every 6 months we're going to remind them to update and try to do something more formal that way. That'll be tested as we move forward. And we are going to do a lot of A/B testing because I'm not really sure what the right message is to get customers to engage and go back to that preference center. Specifically making sure their email address is current, but more important, updating how you want to receive communications from us. So as part of re-engagement, there's a few things that need to be considered. List hygiene is really important. How many of our email addresses can be delivered to, and the ones that can't, how do we get those folks to give us a good email address again? What we do with customers who haven't engaged with us for 6 months. If I send you emails and you never open them, what's the next step for us? So we're going to start a re-engagement series. We're going to send, I think, 3 campaigns. This is the beginning process. One will say, we miss you, let us know how you want to hear from us. We notice you haven't been engaging with us. 2 will say, we really need to hear from you. And then 3 will be last chance. If we don't hear from you, we'll just assume you don't want communications from us anymore. And then we will unsubscribe them from all the marketing types of messages. They'll still get their alerts. They'll still get card compromise information. But I really think the key is going to be the A/B testing of the message and the frequency to understand what works with our particular customers. So I just wanted to take 1 second. Discover's another tool ExactTarget offers, and we recently purchased it just during this past year. The gentleman that works with me used to do volumes and volumes of reporting for me on which emails had good engagement rates and all the detail stuff we wanted to know. And what we found is this tool lets us do that report that used to take him 2 or 3 days in about a half an hour. So this tool lets us very quickly look at a synopsis of all the emails we're sending. You can look by anything, the send date and time. If you look on your right, that's highlighted in red. There's all the features that are there that you can choose from. And then you pull the information over, and it generates a report on, right and left, wrong way. You're my left, you're right. But anyway, the campaign name, and then it shows the open rate. So you can see if the first group there, we have branch openings and customer appreciation days in our branches where we send emails out to that segment, that branch segment, and tell them that we're reopening a branch or having a special event, come in and get a hot dog. And we wanted to look at the engagement rates. You can see each one individually, how they're broken out, and then you can also roll them together. So Discover's just been a really great tool for us to make managing that data a little easier from a reporting perspective. So tips for re-engagement campaigns. I stole this from ReturnPath. They're one of the partners we use, and I know ExactTarget uses them too. But there's some things that they suggested, and I just thought this would be a helpful slide for all of you. Obviously, a shorter template, and really important, the subject lines. We talked about that already. 1 clear call to action when you're doing re-engagement. The only thing you want the customer to do is re-engage with you. So get them to open the email or get them to click on something inside the email so that you get that re-engagement win. Solicit feedback from them. If there's something you're doing that they don't like, sometimes they don't speak up and tell us. So how can we get them to tell us the information so that we can change our strategy on the campaigns? Experiment. This is one that I'm really interested in moving forward with. Tone and sentiment is what they talk about in this example, and I think that's really important. What things do I need to say to you to get you to either tell me, don't send me anything anymore, which is fine, or these are the kinds of things I want to hear from, I want to receive from you. Personalize the email as much as possible, we've talked about. And then don't remove subscribers immediately if they haven't opened anything. Be sure you ask them be sure you give them clear instructions when you're going to remove them and ask them if they want to be removed. And then the most important part is once you tell them this is your last chance, if you don't engage with us by this date, we're going to remove you, then make sure you do so that you've fulfilled your promise to them. I think you're up.
Okay, so when we first started working with Lee, their segmentation strategy has been primarily to send like a women's version, a men's version, a version that everyone we don't know what their gender is. And we think gender is important, but we wanted to make the segmentation more engagement-based rather than just more profile-based. So we did some scoring, and we did what we call RFM ERF. So we did RFM, traditional RFM, which is recency, frequency, and monetary value. But then we also added in recency and frequency of email engagement. So how recently have you opened email? How frequently do you open our emails? We combine those 2 things together and create a segmentation strategy that you see here. What we've outlined here is the percentage size of the list that falls into each of these 7 segments. We often treat the best and the good segment with the same messaging, and then the dormant purchasers and the 2 opportunity groups to buy again or spend more, also sometimes with the same type of messaging. Opportunity for first purchase is a little bit more targeted, but then this unengaged group makes up a very large portion of the list, unfortunately, but very common. Which did result in some deliverability issues that we had at one point. So we do have a 2-part win-back campaign that we send. So if you have not opened or clicked on any emails in 120 days, you get the first email. And then if you don't open or click on that campaign, we send you another win-back email 7 days later. If you don't take any action on either of those, we move you to what we call an inactive group. So if you are unengaged between 4 months and 12 months, we just mail you less frequently, or maybe some different offers and strategy to try to get you to re-engage. Beyond 12 months of no activity, we actually move you to a suppression file, and then we don't mail to you anymore. These campaigns are targeted with creative to entice you to click through. So if you notice, we're only teasing the offer in the campaigns, and we're really trying to get you to click through so that we can get a click garnered from that subscriber. In the first 5 months of the win-back program, we were able to re-engage with 50,000 subscribers, which represented about 10% of revenue over the following 12 months. So it is really important to try to re-engage those inactive subscribers, because they do represent a valuable piece of your subscriber base, and you don't want to just simply move them to a suppression file after they don't open or click for a certain period of time. You definitely want to try to re-engage them and win them back, because they do represent a significant amount of revenue for you. On the opposite end of the spectrum, we have something which I noticed Chad White wrote a blog email about recently about opting up. So we actually, for our super highly engaged subscribers who love us, we let them receive even more emails from us, especially during the holiday season. And you might be surprised that people would be interested in opting into that, but they will. And so we have what we call a nice list campaign during the holidays. And we ask you to opt in to additional campaigns. And we send those subscribers additional offers or increased frequency during the holidays. We usually start building this list in October, and then we mail them throughout the holiday season. We'll send dedicated campaigns to ask them to opt in, but then we'll also typically have like a supporting promotional pod in the normal campaigns that are going out, also asking them to opt in on almost every email in October. And actually through the whole holiday season, you can really opt in at any time during the holiday season. We call out social sharing in these emails because we would love for them to go viral. And then you can see the example on the right as an example of one of the emails that went to the nice list. And we kind of call that out with the banner and the creative there. So you can see this is a nice list exclusive. So they know they're getting this just because they opted in to those campaigns. And you can also see our holiday creative on that too. We kind of change up the header navigation on those campaigns during the holidays, so it's a little more reflective of the season. Okay, I think I'll hand it back over to Lacey here.
All right. Thank you so much, Kara, and thank you, Pam. So we have just a couple minutes for questions, and if you'll raise your hand, I'll bring the mic to you. Yes.
Yeah, this question's actually for Kara. You'd mentioned in the engagement portion doing the wish list for birthdays. Mm-hmm. Do you do it around the holidays at all too?
Yeah, we haven't worked too much with the wish list functionality with Lee yet because there's some technical things with the product feed that we needed to get updated before we could really start pushing it. But we're getting close, and yeah, we plan to take advantage of it for the holidays too, or any sort of like a birthday or a campaign where they might be shopping for themselves or someone else.
Gotcha. The reason I'm asking, I know with the holidays, who knows what holiday you're celebrating? We're kind of dealing with that with a client right now.
Sure.
So it was, we were struggling with when do you send that if you're going to ever send it. So
yeah, you could promote it throughout the whole holiday season. I would say, holiday for us typically starts October 1st. So anytime from October through December, I would say would qualify as holiday.
Great. Any other questions? Oh, sorry.
For the Lee offer, the free shipping and returns for 30 days, did you test other offers to see what popped, or was that just?
No, that was just the offer that we chose to start with. It does seem like it's been well received. I mean, purchasing jeans online is something where it's like shoes. There's sort of a high barrier to not being able to try it on. So the free returns we felt like would be a compelling offer for them. And then we wanted to put a time frame around it to create a little bit of a sense of urgency. So yeah, we didn't test anything else.
Thank you both, first of all. For the morning versus evening engagement, I was interested that you also noticed that your evening was better for social sharing. So how did you go about getting that sort of hyper-segmented? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, so we did some testing. We just did some time of day split testing on campaigns at first. So we would split test at 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. And what we started to notice was that our evening sends had higher click-through rates, but not necessarily higher conversion rates. So we took that information and then started focusing in on a little bit more of our social campaigns that we send. So we have a couple different things. We have a campaign called Like More, Save More, or Share More, Save More, depending on how we want to spend it at the time. But we send that out, and it's usually focused around new products. We're promoting the new products. The products that get the most likes are then, over a certain period of time, essentially voting through liking, then are put on sale. And we send another email out to let them know that they're on sale then. And we found that those campaigns would garner more likes if we sent them in the evening. And so that's kind of how we started to draw the conclusion that it seemed like they were more engaged in the social aspect in the evening than the morning.
I had a question about unengaged lists. When you are pulling the list, what date period do you use? Do you go back from like today's date minus 1 year, or do you like go back a month from today's date? Because what if you had new subscribers that haven't opened or clicked yet? They might be suppressed.
Right, so it has to be, we go back at least 3 months. So if they just signed up a week ago and they haven't opened or clicked, they wouldn't qualify yet. So it has to be at least 120 days of unengagement before they start to fall into to that segment. Does that answer your question? Okay.
You're kind of in that awkward, middle place, sorry.
This is regarding re-engaging inactive customers, and I felt like your metric of inactive is somebody who has not opened the email in 5 months, X months, right? Mm-hmm. I see myself that if I am on a desktop computer and if I feel like I don't want to read an email, I can, without opening, I can just click on it and delete it. Mm-hmm. But when I'm on a mobile, most of the times I open and then press delete because it's easier that way than go to the edit button on the iPhone. So just curious if both actions are the same for me because I'm not interested in that email, but would you accidentally think, hey, this guy opened it? Would you do that?
Yeah, we would think that you were interested because it would count as an open. So yeah, that's an interesting point of view on that. If you had a large number of subscribers who were company-based and not, Gmail, Hotmail, Yahoo based, then you may look at that tactic slightly differently than if, maybe more, B2B or large subscriber base that was,
Everybody uses them on smartphone with email.
Yeah, and with like Gmail defaulting images on because they're caching their images and things now, I predicted earlier this year that open rates would increase over time because those images are on by default whereas before you had to tell the ISP to download the images. So. Yeah, so hopefully that means less people are falling into our re-engagement campaigns, I guess. Good for us, but maybe not for the subscriber, I suppose.
When you add someone to the suppression list, how are they then able to re-engage with you at a later date if they choose to do so?
If they open any email or click on any email that they had ever received, they would automatically become reactivated because the query looks for click and open activity. But if they don't go back to an old email, for example, they can go to their preferences, their profile center and our preference center matches the style quiz questions. So those questions are exactly the same. And so they could go there and opt back in. We also have an opt down option. So you can choose to only receive emails once a month instead of the normal cadence that we would send.
Great, thank you so much. Yeah. And thank you all for coming. Just wanted to, thank you. Big round of applause. just wanted to remind you all on the app to take the after session survey. You enter to win a $50 Starbucks gift card, and I know on marathon weeks like this, it really comes in really handy. And also, don't forget to tweet and hashtag CNX14, and we would love to see you all at Dreamforce. We'll be there. So have a great rest of Connections, and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Kara and Pam will be up here to answer any questions you have.
Yep.